Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's a new video. I decided to make key lime cheesecakes that are frozen and they're no bake, so it's extra easy and it's basically foolproof, so any of you guys can make it. I know that you're gonna love it and I'm gonna show you how to do it. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed and you like this video. Follow me on Instagram. I have it linked in the description always, as you guys know. And I'm just excited to get this video started because it's nice and refreshing for summer. Limes and key limes, exactly. They're like sweet and a little bit tart, and so I think that's gonna be perfect combination, and who doesn't love cheesecake? So let's get into this video. Also, a little heads up, there's like major construction going on outside, so if you guys hear that, I apologize in advance. Here is everything you're gonna need to get this recipe going. Starting out, we're gonna need a 1 pound bag of key limes, an 8-ounce packet of cream cheese. You're gonna need a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, an 8-ounce container of Cool Whip, and I'm gonna use these graham crackers just because I like that they're gluten-free, but you can also use the regular honey-made graham crackers. So that's everything that you're gonna need for this recipe. It's 5 ingredients. For this recipe, you're gonna want to have the Cool Whip and the cream cheese at basically room temperature. You just want it to be soft enough to where you can whip this pretty easily, and then you want the Cool Whip to be out of the freezer long enough that it's completely fluffy and it's not solid. So while I'm waiting for this to soften up a little bit, I'm gonna juice the key limes. And I'm gonna start to juice 1 pound of key limes, which is gonna be about 3/4 of a cup of juice. They're so tiny. Okay, I'm gonna cut them in half and then we're gonna start juicing. Okay, so I just finished cutting all of the limes in half, and I forgot to mention that sometimes when you juice a lemon or a lime or basically any citrus, you can roll them just to kind of like break up the membranes in the citrus, and it helps to get more juice out of it. These are super tiny, so I didn't really roll them, but just a little tip in case you didn't know that. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and start to juice them. I usually use a fork and I just squeeze it and I kind of wiggle the fork back and forth. That way it gets most of the juice out. Ah! So nice that they actually had key limes at the store. Sometimes they're hard to find, so I got lucky and grabbed 2 bags of the key limes because I don't usually see them at the store, so that worked out. Oh my gosh, they're so small. I'm gonna get to working on this and I'll catch you guys back in a few. It's a process, but we're getting there. Almost there. It looks like 1 pound of limes is exactly 3/4 of a cup, so that's super convenient. Only have 1.5 more limes, and I'm literally on the line for 3/4 of a cup. I tried out the wooden little juicer, and that does not work for key limes. Just in case you guys want to know, that doesn't work. It's way too big for the key limes. All right, I've juiced all of the little key limes, and I'm exactly on 3/4 of a cup. I'm gonna wash my hands and then we're gonna get on to the next step. Now I'm gonna get started on the graham crackers. I just dumped them into this little container and now I'm gonna add them back in. Just break them up a little bit. And the crumbs, lid on, and then I'm just gonna pulse it on low for a couple of times and then go to high. So this is the texture you're looking for, just some nice light crumbs. I think it looks great. It's gonna be the perfect crust for our little key lime pies. All right guys, we're on to the next step, which is going to be creaming the cream cheese. And I'm just gonna take a 8-ounce pack and we're gonna open it up. Open it. Oh, there we go. I'm just gonna open this and drop it into the bowl. And the good thing about this cheesecake, it's a no bake, so there's no egg and it's minimal ingredients. So basically the only thing that makes it a cheesecake is the cream cheese. Okay? 8 ounces of cream cheese are now in the bowl. I'm just gonna put that over there. I'm just gonna take my mixer and I'm gonna whip it so that way it's nice and light and airy and it will be ready for me to add the sweetened condensed milk. Start off on a low speed, that way it doesn't go flying everywhere. All right everybody, so I just whipped the cream cheese in this bowl and I'm going to scrape it down just a little bit. That way it's all in the middle and not on the sides. And then I'm going to open up this can of sweetened condensed milk and I'm gonna add it in to the bowl. All right, now we're gonna add it in. And it's super convenient with a lot of these ingredients is you basically just take the package and dump it right in. You don't have to do any measuring with any measuring cups, which is super nice. All right, we got it all out. I'm just going to use this and scrape off my spatula a little. Start off on a low speed on this one too, that way it doesn't go flying everywhere. And then you can slowly increase it once it gets more incorporated. All right, now that that's all mixed together, I'm gonna take my freshly squeezed key lime juice and I'm going to add it in. And then we're just gonna mix all of that together. Smells so tropical. Oh my gosh. Yay! I'm gonna start out on low just because it's extra liquid. Don't want it to splatter all over. So I'm gonna start it on low and then slowly increase the speed. Looking good. All right, it's all combined. Now it's time to add the Cool Whip. So it's super easy. All you have to do is take 1 pack of Cool Whip, and it's actually 8 ounces. So you literally just take the 1 package of it and dump it in. How good does that look? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I love Cool Whip. I'm not gonna add all of it exactly. Oh, whoa! Okay, yeah we are. I'm gonna add maybe like 3/4 of it. I want to reserve just a teensy little bit left over so I can dollop some on top once they're frozen. I think that would be nice and cute. So I'm just gonna I'm just keeping about that much, which is maybe like half of a cup, and the rest has gone right into the bowl. And I'm just going to take my spatula, break it up just a tiny bit. I'll show you guys up close. But you want to fold this in. You don't want to use the mixer because it's gonna ruin all that air that we just incorporated into the bowl. So I'm gonna fold it and I'll show you guys how to do that. So I'm just gonna fold, and how you properly fold is you take your spatula and you scrape the bottom of the bowl and you fold the ingredients over and you spin the bowl at the same time. It might take a little bit of time just to incorporate it all, but it's worth it. Okay, I think it's all mixed together. It's looking nice and fluffy and airy. Look at this. For the most part, everything is nice and smooth. All right, so it's actually the next day. I ended up going to the beach and I wrapped this up and put it in the refrigerator. So the last step that you guys saw in the previous clip is the stage that it's still in right now. I took it out of the fridge maybe like an hour or two ago, just so that it would come to room temperature, because the cream cheese was a little bit harder than I was looking for. So I'm just going to take my mixer and I'm gonna whip it up a little bit, and then we'll be able to scoop them into the molds. Okay. I don't know where to put that. Okay, so now the consistency is exactly what I'm looking for. So I have my graham cracker crumbs that I mixed up in the food processor, and I ended up adding like 2 tablespoons of melted butter to it just to give it a little bit more of a sticky texture, and I think that will give it more of the crust effect when it goes into the freezer. I was thinking that the graham cracker crumbs by itself would probably just fall off when we turn them out of the mold, so I added a little bit of butter to it, and this is what it looks like. Now I have my silicone molds. You can use any type of mold that you want or any shape. This is the kind that I have. It will look like a little round, kind of like a cupcake, but more straight effect. But you can also use like those silicone molds that are like the cupcake liners. Those are really cute, and it will give those little grooves on the side, which I think will also look nice. But this is the one that I have, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use this. I'm just gonna take my mixture and I'm gonna start to scoop it. I'm just gonna try and make them most as uniform as I can. It's probably gonna be 2 scoops. I just wanna fill them up almost all the way to the top. That way, when we put the crust on it, it's gonna be nice and level. So I'm gonna do like a teensy bit more. So it's basically like 2.5 scoops, for me at least. You guys can also just use a regular spoon and scoop it in, or basically anything. You could just pour it in there, but this is the most effective way for me to scoop it. I like doing it this way, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish scooping the rest, and I'll see you guys in a second. So I just finished the first row of the cheesecakes, and now I'm gonna start on the second one. But as you guys saw in the first one, you just wanna leave like maybe a 1/2 inch or maybe a little bit smaller than that, just enough for the crust to be there. And I just cleaned up the edges a little bit because I did spill it. So I'm just gonna start on the second one, and then we'll get on to the crust. All right, so I just finished all of them. I ended up with 8. I'm going to take the crust that I have ready to go, and we're gonna put it on top, which is gonna end up being the bottom of it. So I'll explain that in a second. I have my little cheesecakes right here, and then I also have the crust, and it's ready to go. I just have a fork. I think this is the best way to put it on, and I'm just going to take maybe a tablespoon. We'll see how much looks good. And I'm just going to, whoa, sorry, my head was cut off. I'm just gonna take maybe a tablespoon or so of the mixture, and I'm just gonna sprinkle it on top. That way it gives it the little crust effect. And you may be thinking, why are we putting the crust on the top? But because these are a silicone mold, once they're frozen, we're gonna unmold it, and then the crust will end up being on the bottom. And I'm just gonna take a little bit and sprinkle it on the top. Just like that. All right, so now I've put the crust on all of the little individual cheesecakes. I'm gonna go ahead and pop them into the freezer, and I'm gonna let them hang out in there for maybe 3 or 4 hours until they're solid. Obviously, you can leave them overnight, or as long as you want them to be in the freezer. They're gonna be ready to go. Once they're solid, you can keep them in there, but I'm just gonna give them a couple of hours because I'm excited to check out how they turn out. So I'd say maybe 3 or 4 hours. I'm going to come back and check them, and we're gonna see what they look like out of the mold. So I'm gonna find something fun to do in the meantime, and these are gonna get nice and set in the freezer, and we'll be back in a little bit to check them out. All right, so these have frozen all the way through. It's been a little while. I ended up keeping them overnight and then a little bit more time after that. So I just have a plate here, and I'm gonna take a couple of them out. They literally just came out of the freezer, so they're gonna be nice and hard, and they should come out nice and smoothly. Fingers crossed, guys, that they come out just the way I want them to. Ooh! Yes! And then you turn it over, and they're sitting there on their little crust that we made. Well, the edges are nice and clean. Oh my goodness. And I'm gonna let them soften up just a teensy bit, and then we're ready to taste. I've had the little key lime frozen cheesecakes sitting out for about 15 or 20 minutes, just until they get a little bit softer. And also, while I was waiting, I cut up some little key lime slices to put on the top. I just have a little spoon, and I'm gonna show you guys up close. Ready for the taste test. Which one do I want? I feel like maybe I'll go with this one. Phone eats first. Okay, here's the slice. I took a huge chunk out because I wanted to get the full effect, but I don't think that's gonna be very nice looking to take a huge mouthful of it. So I just decided I was gonna show you what it looks like, and I'll have a teensy little bite because that's not a TV bite. I watched, what was it? I think it was on Food Network, that you're not supposed to take like a huge jumbo bite because then you can't talk afterwards. So I'm just gonna take a small bite and we'll see how it tastes. Winner! Oh my gosh, you guys. You need to make this. It's so good. You can taste the key lime so strong, but it's not overpowering. And it's so refreshing because it's nice and cool for summer on a nice hot day. You guys, please make this. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you end up making this, tag me on Instagram. I'll repost it on my stories. I'm so happy with the result. Yay! I hope you make this. The recipe is really simple. I'll put it in the description so you can follow along. Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. I have it linked in the description. I also have it up here like I always do. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in my next video.